Hello, Pirate Nation. Welcome to the Anchor Podcast with Dr. Brandon Hubbard. We aim to keep you inspired, informed, and anchored in what's happening in Chilton ISD. Today, we have a very special guest. He's a minister, a speaker, entrepreneur, owner of Soul Fishing Media, and an Amazon best-selling author. We have with us Minister George Strickland, better known as Minister Slugger. Welcome to the podcast today.
Well, thank you for having me.
Listen, many people may not remember, may not know, but several years ago, you were heavily involved in Chilton ISD with media productions, with filming, with live. And so just kind of tell us about that journey and how that got started.
Yeah, so in 2020, you and I had partnered, and the goal was to put Chilton ISD on the map.
Yes, sir.
And so we engaged in the media services of Soul Fishing Media, and my number one goal was to promote the Chilton ISD in the best positive light possible.
Yes, sir.
You guys had a number of positive things that were going on here.
Yes,
academic excellence was one of those things, and so my job was just to simply, put out to the public, hey, this is what's happening here at Chilton ISD, and those were some good times, and I thank you for that experience.
Yes, those were definitely great times, and our media department is actually standing on the foundation that you built, so we are appreciative to you for your contributions to Chilton ISD. So in about, I guess, 2023, 2024, I'll say God led you in a different direction. Right. You stepped away from media services. You stepped away because your career was going in a different direction. Tell us a little bit about that journey.
Well, that journey there, to be honest with you, I mean, it was a challenging transition. Yes. Because you get settled into doing something. Media was something I had been doing for about 20 years. And, it was what I knew. It was what I was comfortable with. And so when I made the transition, like I say, it was a bit challenging, at first. But then while I was contracting here at Chilton ISD, and then previously contracted media services with Marlin ISD, and I worked with some other school districts as well. Yes. But I noticed a common theme while I worked in all of these districts that I always found myself in the background ministering or providing inspiration for someone who was burned out or just needed to talk.
Yes.
And so during the transition, that's when it was revealed to me, okay, there needs to be a service for leaders, for educators, for people in the workplace who are dealing with burnout. And so that's when I came up with the inspiration to provide services, if you will, that would address the burnout in the workplace. Because, with the way that things are going in our world today, whether it's the political climate, the educational climate, and then people are just dealing with, issues not only at work but at home.
Yes.
And people need a way to cope with that. And so I recently, I know I'm getting a little ahead, but recently just published a book entitled How to Invest in Your Mental Wellness. And so that was the inspiration for that book, actually, seeing the burnout in the workplace. And I wanted to create something that would help address that. So whether you are the professional person or whether you are, dealing with problems at home or whatever, I wanted to have a guide that people could use and refer to draw inspiration from to help them deal with the issues that they're dealing with in their everyday life.
So talking about your book, How to Invest in Your Mental Wellness, what are just a couple of practical principles that you offer to teachers, to people in general, to help them make sure they focus on making that personal investment? What are just a couple of practical tips that you provide?
Just a couple of practical tips is, one thing that I always stress is take a break before you break.
Yes.
You may not have the money to take a vacation, or you may not have the time to take a vacation to a destination somewhere, but you can turn off the TV, turn off the news, take a social media break, because we don't realize an overload of information, especially negative information, how much that impacts our mental wellness. But then also a 30-minute walk, moving your body, something as simple as that will free your mind and declutter your mind. And so those are just some like practical tips that are just, money free, if you will.
Yeah.
You don't have to spend any money on those in order to invest in your mental wellness. And it makes a world of difference.
Excellent, excellent. So the inspiration for your book, you were serving in school districts. You saw the burnout that many teachers, many administrators experience. Was there a life-changing moment in your life that helped you to realize that this is necessary?
Right.
And sometimes it's a taboo subject to address, mental wellness. But what helped you to become aware that addressing mental health and mental wellness, even in a professional setting, is necessary?
Well, it's something that's personal to me. Mental wellness is because when I was in high school, I suffered from depression, and I talk about that in my second book that I published, entitled "Developed in Darkness."
Yes.
And so, being one who went through the low periods of life and having to go and see a therapist to help deal with the loss of my mom and other issues that I was dealing with at that time, going to see the therapist was a game changer for me. Being a man of faith, a man who preaches God's word and who believes in faith and healing and all that stuff there, I went a non-traditional route. And one of the best things that I could have did was to go and confide in someone who didn't know me and someone who wasn't willing to judge me. But I got a breakthrough in her office when I sat down and I was willing to become transparent with some things that I was dealing with. And that also solidified that, okay, that this is needed in the world. People need to know that, first of all, that it's okay not to be okay. But then second of all, there's this stigma around seeing a therapist or quote unquote seeing a shrink. And my motto is this: I'd rather see a shrink before I shrink.
Right.
Because sometimes we take a licking and keep on ticking and don't realize that, we need to unpack this load in a healthy way. And a lot of times we are unpacking stress and depression, but it comes out in anger. It comes out in how we respond to the people that we love, And so mental wellness is a great investment because it not only affects us, but it also affects the people that are around us. And if I'm not well, then the environment that I serve or my home isn't well. But if I'm well, then the environment around me is well also. And so, like I say, mental wellness is something that's personal to me. It was like I had to go in that dark place to get the T-shirt and to get the nuggets to be able to tell other people, hey, this is important, and pay attention to this, because when your life is well, when your mind is well, your life is well.
That's deep. That's deep. One of the things that I've grown to know is that there is a stigma attached with maintaining mental wellness, and I found that it takes strength and courage to be willing to confront that stigma and take care of your mind, and your body and your soul. Right. One of the analogies in your second book, Developed in Darkness, you use the analogy of a green room or dark room photography. Dark room in developing photographs. And can you share just a little bit about that analogy with those who are listening who may not have read your book, but just kind of share where that analogy comes from, and help help inspire us and encourage somebody to, if they haven't gotten the book, you need to get it. Right.
So the analogy came for Developed in Darkness. That title came because, again, I used to do photography and videography. I'm a media guy. And when I first started doing photography, I was doing digital photography, but I had an interest in how did they do photography before there was digital photography. So I was on YouTube and I was watching the process, And as I was watching the process of them bringing the film strip into the dark room and saw the process of how they developed the film, revelation and inspiration began to hit me immediately. And I began to look at my life of how when I was dealing with depression in high school and contrasting that to where my life is now. If it hadn't have been for that dark period that I went through, the darkness in my life, there would be no brightness in my life. So the picture that you see now, it came from a dark place. God developed me in darkness. And this is why I'm able to tell others about certain things, because I actually went through it.
Yes.
And so many of us don't realize that the dark places of our life actually produce God's purpose for our lives. But it's about perspective, though.
Yes.
Because oftentimes when we're going through darkness, we think that it's doom and gloom and that it's the end. But what if that it's not the end of your life, but it's the catalyst that God wants to develop something great in your life.
Right.
And so that's what that whole book was about, Developed in Darkness. I shared my testimony of my journey from darkness to light to hopefully inspire someone else who's in darkness, to let them know that your dark place is not a place that you're going to stay in. It's just a place of development.
Right.
And so watching the photographers, how they would take the negatives or the film strip, bring them into a dark room to develop the picture was intriguing to me. And when we think about our lives, many of us who are now walking in the light, so to speak, we see how God took those negatives of our life and transformed them into positives.
Yes.
And so that's where the whole analogy of darkroom photography came in at.
Wow. Wow. Man, that's inspiration. I'm sitting here listening and I'm inspired. It's amazing though, that you're able to share that perspective and help us to see that, some of the negative things and dark places that we encounter are actually, and they can be valuable.
Absolutely.
You just have to switch your perspective and allow yourself to be developed. You can't rush out. You can't come out too quickly. You got to stay and stick with the process and come out in due time.
Absolutely. And, having that perspective, it gives you hope when you're in a dark place. If you know that, hey, this is not a permanent place, but it's a place of development.
Yes.
It's like, when I was in high school, I loved the game of football, but I hated two-a-days.
Yeah.
I hated practice. I hated, getting into the gym, working out. But it was those things behind the scenes that if, the team doesn't do those things, then when the lights come on Friday night, then, you can't be successful on the field.
Yes.
And so oftentimes we want success without the struggle.
Yeah.
And so, and it's just not possible.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Now, one of the things I didn't know until we were preparing for this podcast is that you have actually authored 3 books.
Right.
The first book you ever wrote in 2013, I think you said,
right,
was Inspiration for Your Soul. Can you tell us a little bit about that journey and that book?
So yeah, Inspiration for Your Soul was the first book that I published. And it is a collection of quotes that I had, and I compiled them together. And, I just get a joy. My life's purpose is about inspiring others. Because, again, I know what it's like to be in a dark place. And I just knew how it felt when someone would come along and give me words of encouragement and how that made a world of difference for me. And so I just want to be that beacon of light or that beacon of hope for someone else that, hey, I was low on gas and I read this and, you put gas back in my tank, so to speak. But I have to give a shout out to my good friend who's not only a friend, but a business mentor of mine. His name is Marcus J. Carey. He's a cybersecurity tech entrepreneur. And he's the inspiration behind all 3 books that I've written, him and his wife, Mandy. They encouraged me to, hey, you need to write a book. Inspiration for Your Soul. That came 12 o'clock midnight.
Oh, wow.
My guy Marcus calls me and says, hey, man, my wife has been reading the stuff that you've been putting out on Facebook, and it's really been a blessing to her. Man, you should write a book. I'm not writing no book,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
matter of fact, I was in a struggling place at that time,
Yeah.
just to be honest with you. And I'm like, I don't have the money to publish a book
Yeah.
or write. I'm just trying to put one foot in front of the other right now.
Yes.
And so after about a 30-minute phone call conversation,
Hmm.
he convinced me and walked me through the steps of how to get the book published. And this is no lie. Within 3 days, I had a book.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's amazing.
Right.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So, Minister Slugger, if someone listening to this podcast really connected with the one of your messages, whether it's how to maintain your mental wellness, or the developed in darkness method, or inspiration, if someone connected with your message and wanted to talk more with you about the services, or being a motivational speaker, or doing staff development, professional development, speaking to students, how would they go about doing that? Well, how would they get in touch with Minister Slugger?
All right. So you can find me on all social media platforms at Minister Slugger, or you can email me at slugger@ministerslugger.com, or you could go to my website at ministerslugger.com. And I'm actually glad that you brought up the fact that I'm also a motivational speaker, because, when I think about motivational speaking, for me, it's more than just getting the crowd hyped. For me, I give words that are transformational.
Yes.
I like to leave people behind with some tools that they can actually use that's going to transform their lives, if you will. And that was another inspiration for me for writing a book, How to Invest in Your Mental Wellness, because it's more than me just coming and talking with you, but also leaving something behind, a guide that you can use and implement into your everyday life.
Yes.
And so I'm not a counselor or a therapist or anything like that, but I like to consider myself as a mental health advocate, one who champions others, hey, to take care of your mental wellness, and if need be, seek professional counseling.
Yes.
And also a resource that I like to give to others, if you are seeking professional counseling and you don't know where to look, there's a website called Psychology Today that you can go on there. You can find a therapist in your area, and you can also narrow it down to your to specifically, if you want someone that's faith-based,
Oh, wow.
if you have insurance, you don't have insurance.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then you can also narrow it down based upon your budget. So it's very user-friendly.
Yeah.
And again, you can find a therapist right there in your area that suits your needs.
Right.
And that website is Psychology Today. So I would love to come in and address your leadership team, your students, or whatever, because again, that message is something that we can all benefit from.
Right.
Because again, when the mind is well, the organization is well.
Yes.
When the mind is well, the home is well.
Yes.
And so a lot of times, staff, they're underperforming, not necessarily because they are ill-equipped, but it's because I'm burned out, and that can happen to the best of us.
Wow.
We can have all the skills in the world, but sometimes I just need that charge, or that eye opener to say, hey, let me go and get some help, or that word that you said, or these tips that you have given me have recalibrated my thinking, and now I can get back on the right track in order to be productive again.
Yes.
Because you can't be productive when your mind is cluttered.
Right, right. And so that's actually enlightening for me as a leader, when you consider underperforming students or underperforming teachers. Sometimes we look directly at the pedagogy, or we look directly at the instruction, or look directly at the technical aspects of teaching and learning.
Right.
But oftentimes we overlook the mental wellness and the total wellness aspect of teacher performance. And so that's inspired me, and has caused me to do some thinking about how we address the whole student, or the whole teacher, or the whole leader, because mental wellness plays a big part in that whole process.
It does. I mean, if I often look at it as, think about a vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the car is nice, the outside it looks good,
Mm-hmm.
but if if there's a problem with the engine, I don't care how good the car looks,
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to be of any good use, because the engine is what makes the car run.
Yes.
Our mind is the engine. With our minds, we make decisions. With our minds, we create. With our minds, we function. And as simple as that thought is, we really don't realize just how valuable our minds are.
Right.
And so when I say how to invest in your mental wellness, if you think about it, there are a lot of how-to books out there.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of how-to videos out there.
Mm-hmm.
But very minimal information on how do I invest in the single most important thing, and that is my mental health.
Yes, that makes sense. That's deep. And there you have it, Pirate Nation. I hope you have been as inspired as I have been by listening to the wisdom and the nuggets from Minister Slugger. Pirate Nation and those beyond, if you are interested in contacting and improving the mental wellness within your organization, I encourage you, contact Minister Slugger. He's a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of wisdom for anybody that he comes in contact with. Pirate Nation, I thank you for being a part of this podcast. Minister Slugger, I thank you for your time and investing and helping us to grow as a leader in the Chilton ISD.
And I want to thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Pirate Nation, thank you for tuning into the podcast. Please like, share, comment, so that we can get this word and get Minister Slugger message out to the nations. As always, Pirate Nation, we thank you and we encourage you to refuse to sink.